Welcome to my domain. I've been summoned once again for a third time to share with you another mad brew. This is 5 color Guile. The commander of this deck is Guile. How? How is a non-legendary my commander? And how is he in all 5 colors? Well, we will get to that. Guile, 3 generic and 3 blue for an elemental incarnation. He's a 6/6. He can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, so he has super menace. If a spell or ability I control would counter a spell, I instead, so this is a replacement effect, I remove that spell from the game and I can play that card without paying its mana cost. And then when Guile is put into a graveyard from anywhere, I shuffle it into its owner's library. Another replacement effect. There's a lot of writing on Guile. His second ability is what I wanted to build a whole deck around in the first place. The fact that you can steal spells just by countering them. The actual commander of the deck, which is Esika. But we're of course playing her for the Prismatic Bridge. On our upkeep, let's just reveal cards from the top of our library until we hit a creature or planeswalker, and it goes into the battlefield, and the rest go on the bottom. Guile is the only creature in this deck, and that's why Esika to me is the best secret commander, right? Let's talk about the win cons. How does this deck win? Guile creates a loop with Blood Funnel and Dovescape. Blood Funnel for 1 and a black. Non-creature spells we play cost 2 less, but whenever we play a non-creature, it gets countered unless we sacrifice a creature. Dovescape, 3 generic and 3 hybrid Azorius for an enchantment. They're both enchantments. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, counter it, and they create X/1/1 white and blue birds with flying, where X is a spell's CMC. Both of these enchantments counter spells, but with Guile's replacement effect on the battlefield, instead we exile them and cast them for free. But when we cast them for free, these enchantments will see that and attempt to counter it, which will trigger Guile, which will exile it and allow us to cast it again. It's a loop. The spell will never resolve that we cast, but we will get the cast triggers nonetheless, and with Dovescape, we will get the birds nonetheless. What can we do with Infinite Storm? Well, with Jeskai Ascendancy and Whirlwind of Thought, we can draw a library. With Whirlwind of Thought, we want to be careful because you can deck yourself. Blind Obedience is an interesting one, because if you can find a way to get the white or black mana, you can extort everyone with the cast triggers. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but Blind Obedience is already in the list, and it plays a different role in the list that I'll talk about later. If we can use it when we need to storm off, that'd be a really great piece of redundancy. Aetherflux Reservoir is the best option. That's the option that we're going to tutor for, and that we're going to gun for when we're drawing with the Jeskai and the Whirlwind. What you need to know about the loop is that if you already have the Dovescape or the Blood Funnel on the battlefield, you won't be able to cast anything without it getting countered. So you kind of need to have these things on the battlefield already. Another win con, which I like, is Decree of Silence and Solemnity. Decree of Silence reads, whenever your opponents cast a spell, Decree gets a depletion counter, and when it has 3, it's sacrificed. What Solemnity does is stop the depletion counters from going onto Decree, so it never gets sacrificed, and every spell your opponents cast is countered. You win from here by either attacking with Guile or accruing so much advantage that everyone scoops. The way we enable this win con is with control. So let's talk about Cantrip control. Jeskai Ascendancy with Whirlwind, turn all our spells into cantrips. Arcane Denial draws us a card. Remand draws us a card. And because of Guile, Dispel does not return to the opponent's hand. Dismiss, Mystic Confluence, Soul Guide Lantern is Graveyard Hate that draws. Keep Safe, Dream Fracture, all great cantrip control. We're also running some stacks. Counterbalance is great in this list. It's a counter spell that will just sit in the battlefield and hopefully counter several spells over a game. Stranglehold, which will stop our opponent searching, which is brilliant. Obviously, I would run Aven Mind Sensor or Opposition Agent in this list, but we can't run any creatures. We're also running Cursed Totem. We only have one creature, and he has no activated abilities, so this for us will have no downside. Board wipes will absolutely crush creature strategies and pretty much any strategy. Supreme Verdict, uncounterable, reliable, cheap, Doomscar. We can get it out of our hand if it's in a opener. Hallowed Burial shuffles all the creatures in. For us, it's no downside because we get Guile back out of Esika. Oyster Command is versatile. Terminus has the same abilities as Hallowed Burial, and Blasphemous Act is really cheap. Board wipes in this deck do not hurt us. Any removal on Guile does not hurt us, apart from exile and him being stolen, because when he goes to the graveyard from anywhere, he shuffles back into our library, and Esika can find him again on our next upkeep. Let's talk about the combat step, because of course there's only one creature. We're running things like Ghostly Prison, Verity Circle, which can tap creatures, Dawn Charm, a great counter spell that also has a fog, Blind Obedience, stopping haste turns, Maze of If, a no-brainer. Another way we deal with the fact that we're going to take a lot of combat damage is I'm not running any cards that lose us life. We can't afford to. Let's talk about notable counter spells. I don't just want to run counter spells. I want counter spells that will also fill gaps in the deck, so that way we can have a high density of counter spells while still having necessary components in a deck. Drown in a Lock provides us with creature removal as well as a counter spell. Thassa's Intervention provides us card advantage. Supreme Will provides us card advantage. Spell Swindle provides us ramp. Bant Charm provides us artifact and creature removal. Sublime Epiphany provides us card draw and utility. Plasm Capture provides us ramp. There are some big considerations for this deck. I've never played it in paper, so I don't know what to cut or what to keep. The big consideration is Academy Rector. When she dies, we search an enchantment onto the battlefield. This can get our big win cons. We'll have to run things such as Diabolic Intent and other non-creature spells that have sacrifice clauses to be able to make her viable. The downside is we lose consistency with getting Guile out on the battlefield every turn, every game. Illusionist Gambit is great against combat. Mob Rule takes our opponent's win cons and helps us to win the game. Propaganda, more redundancy with Ghostly Prison. Metalogic Summonings makes us bodies and can refill our hand with our graveyard. However, we need 6 artifacts to activate that ability, and that's really annoying. Pernicious Deed would be a great 7th board wipe in this deck. Annul is just one of the many counter spells that I want to add into this deck. I would love to have like pushing 30 counter spells in this list. And that, my friends, is the whole list. There's so much more that I could talk about as usual, but this video can't go on forever. Check the deck out for yourself. Check out all the little nuances. Give me feedback, opinions. I need help with this deck. It's complicated. I haven't even played it in a game yet. I will learn a lot once I do play it, and there will be an update video. I can't wait to play this. It's going to be insane. What plays are going to happen? What spells am I going to steal? What's going to be my friends' reactions to this list? I don't know. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one. I have some really cool stuff planned in the future. Subscribe, share, like, all that jazz. Peace out. It's your boy Ty. What?